Alright everybody, quick video, I don't know, 5-10 minutes on bags, and more bags. Making this video in response to Enjoy Your Carry on YouTube. I had commented on an LV bag that she had reviewed, and she wanted a picture of some of the setups and how I've got bags that might be duplicates. And how some of them are sanitized for airline travel. Also, I think the primary, if I remember right, was how the LV works together with the LV backpack. And I'll hit on that in a second because that's a response to her question. I will say her channel and The Perfect Bag, Klint, over at The Perfect Bag, have like pretty much everything you ever want to know about bags. So if you're doing any research on different types of bags, you'll see that I have a lot of similar brands. I'm a big 5.11 guy, as well as some Tenba for camera. That's Tenba. You'll see that in a minute. But for the most part, if you really want to know a lot about a lot, Klint has hands down the best bag channel on all of YouTube. Go check him out. I promise you'll dig him. Specific to, let me get right into Enjoy Your Carry, respond to your question about taking pictures of some stuff or showing you what that looks like. The thing with 5.11's platform is they designed this LV for low visibility backpack to accept the LV6, and a lot of people have talked about the LV6 and how it, the individual pack, but essentially the groovy thing, and I guess before I dig into that, I'll show you what I did with straps here. So I took my original strap off of the LV6, which is this guy right here, and then I swapped out the strap for the LV8, primarily because it's a little bit thicker, gives you a little bit more weight distribution, and then at the same time it also allows you to have that third piece that holds it in place, that snaps around you, that holds it in place. So what I did is I popped that LV8 strap off and popped that on there on the LV6, and I found that to be very, very comfortable. So when it comes time to travel, jump in an airplane, I will take this strap off and throw it inside the bag. And then what this LV6 does is this LV6 attaches here. You'll see that I pulled the old clips off of the LV6 and permanently affixed them there. And basically what happens is this piece, these little tabs, they hook right in there, and then you can either run this behind the bag through there, or you can wrap it around. Different people say they use it different ways, but essentially by taking these clips and putting it on that piece and affixing this to that unit, by tightening this down, it really gives that a one-piece look when I travel. Now, just to touch on this right quick, I am a modular kind of guy, so what I tend to do is put together packs that I can pull and throw in different bags as I go along, as opposed to just loading up the panels that are there. So a lot of times you'll see I have different pouches with aspirin. I live and die by Excedrin migraine, you know, some of the other little components, parts. And the reason I keep them in this top pouch is that when this is under a seat on an airplane, I can reach down and easily grab from here instead of having to dig in here. So everyday carry, this is a little bit of the response to how that looks and how it fits together. Single modular piece, consistent look and color. Sometimes these tabs are in or out. Really dig this platform. I've gone away from, you know, the mole. I've got a series of rush pouches that I really like. But one of the reasons that I dig this LV is that I typically travel with 2 laptops and a tablet. I've got a media production MacBook that I travel with, and then I've got a work device. So you'll have a tablet or a laptop that goes in this pouch, and then once you open this up, you'll have another space here for a laptop or tablet, and then you've got a sleeve in the back. And you'll see that I do a lot of customization. I cut the strap off of here because it was just a royal pain. But essentially, that's the way this LV platform fits together. I've tried a lot of different bags over the years. I've got the Amp over there and a number of other ones. But from a leaving the house perspective for multiple days on business travel, I'll tend to take this. There are times when I've got a leather brief that I'll throw a laptop in, but for the most part, that's the way this fits together. That's this LV platform. I like it. I wish the material were a little bit heavier. This material is kind of thin. So I'm going to set this aside for now. I also want to point out the water bottle packs on the side here, but essentially that's the way it looks, and you know, I live and die by these hero clips as well. That's the way it looks when it's all packed out and loaded. So I'll set that aside. One of the things that I did a lot of research and a lot of digging after I had ordered the series LVs, because I like this platform. I've really gotten into being a Sling person. When I was doing some of the research, this particular pack I bought when I was headed overseas to do an 8 or 9 week run with a lot of travel. So I took this guy, and I like having, you know, the space for some of the Ranger eyes and some of the Velcro here. Added this shock cord to be able to snap some stuff in there. But the downside to this, and what I really learned overseas, is that you want to focus on, or at least you should be as gray man as possible. So I do some other training in some other areas, and trying to be as invisible as possible. This isn't very invisible with all the mole webbing. Now the reason I bring it up is because this is the 5.11, they call it the waist pack. So it's just a tiny bit bigger than the LV Sling. Same type of pocket there that's very thin that you have on the front of the LV, but very similar size. I think they classify these as like 3 liters or something like that. But I say all that because another conversation I had that I'd point people to this particular video is that I build out 2 different packs with pretty similar stuff in it, right? So I've got the same charger, cables, drugs like aspirin, Advil, Tums in here, tactile turn pens, little screwdriver, flashlight. Like a lot of the stuff you find here, you also find in here. Now some of the difference here is that I've got like a sunglass cleaner. There are some things that, some little lights. I've got these lights at a Home Depot that I really like, that you can peel and stick anywhere. It's groovy there. They fit a decent sized firearm in there. That is that's a SIG, that's a 380, so it's a little bit smaller. I just put it in there for showing size, but essentially this is definitely a pack that you couldn't take on an airplane. Very similar size in the 5.11, very similar sling. Then basically I compare that to about the size of the LV6. The LV6 is a little bit smaller. Now I mentioned jumping on an airplane. When I do go to travel, airline travel, I have 3 particular pieces that I remove from here. There's a multi-tool, there's a Gerber with a razor, and I want to say there's one more thing that I pull out of here when I travel, just so that it doesn't get taken at the airport. And then that's pretty much cleansed. So between the knives and the razor, this was the 3rd. So this I pull out as well when I travel so that it doesn't get taken away. So the rest of it is pretty much airport carry. The rest of that is safe to take on the airplane. But from a sling size, it's pretty much the same as you have here with the waist pack. I like this waist pack. It's got some great memories. Again, you'll see like I've got a Pete's Pirate Life coin. I've got a handful of these in brass and copper and titanium that I use a press to cut a hole out and make a little zipper pull out of it. Set that aside for now. You got the Bear Bros Bear Chug key there. Now the difference in these LVs is that they do have some of these packs in here. I find them to be really tight to put anything in. Like that SIG is really tiny. It'll fit in there, but it just creates that lump. So typically in these back here, I just hold like business cards. It's where my tile is at. I have tiles in and on everything. And then there's that other pouch in the back. Again, it's just so thin. When I'm traveling, I might throw my driver's license and corporate card in there, but for the most part, those are pretty useless. The reason I wanted to show you that was, number one, the strap swap, and then the size differences. Another person, when I was doing research, we started looking at, I tried to really get an understanding of the size differences between all these LVs. So you've got the LV6, you've got the LV8, and you've got the LV10. This guy is my production guy that I carry most of the time. The LV8, I'm still working on figuring out the place and time for this. It definitely has a better spot for a firearm. They do come with a little holster that goes in there. Figuring out the right place and time for this. I definitely like the handles on each side of this, and I apologize for all the ums and the filler words there, but the reality is I wanted to show the LV6 versus the LV8 versus the LV10. Often used every day. Finding a place for this. I'm sure I'll figure it out somewhere. Do love these bags. I love everything about these bags. I love that it gives me the opportunity to not be as tactically seen. Now the reason I pull the LV10 out, clearly you'll see it's got all of the same type of strapping. You'll see that it's got the space for the firearm. What I do with this is I use this for camera. So I've got these dividers, and I can't remember the brand, but essentially inside of this is where I can carry two mirrorless bodies, an 85 lens, a 135 lens, and a 50 lens. It all packs out really well in here, so I can carry, if I want to be light and nimble and not take a whole Pelican, I'll load this out. I'll use these to kind of create shelves and dividers between lenses. But this LV10 is a very nice, inconspicuous camera lens bag, or camera bag. I fit a Nikon Z9 in here, which is the full-size Pro. I fit the Z6 in there. With the hand extension, the battery grip extension, and then a Sigma 135, a Sigma 85, and then a Nikon 24 to 120 lens. So you can fit a lot in here and still stay pretty inconspicuous. So those are the LV lines. Some of the other things I wanted to bring up from a bag perspective, I mentioned the 5.11 line. And this is the old AMP series. I've got all missions pack. I've got 3 or 4 of these. And the thing I like about these are good dump bags, right? So you've got a spot up front for a tablet, maybe a smaller laptop to throw in there. But my point being that I have a number of these dump bags, and as I mentioned already, I'm kind of a pouch person, right? So I'll load up different pouches to be able to throw and just pop stuff in there. And the reason I bring all that up is that this is also another inconspicuous travel camera bag. I mentioned Tenba before. This is the smaller insert. And essentially when I want to carry one bag and maybe 2 lenses and a few other things in here, that guy fits in there well, right? So you've got a couple of different Tenba type of cubes. I've got a heli bag that I picked up when I was over in Oslo. Same way. It's a top load. But the bottom line is that you can throw camera gear in there, body, lens, well protected, and then drop this insert into these types of backpacks and go very inconspicuous, right? So it's just looking like a roll top bag with clothing. The last thing I want to touch on and show is this, it's similar concept. It's the Tenba, but it's got a little bit more pack out and organization. You know, I've got a billion different backpacks just like everybody else does. But the thing about it is you can use that to organize out a camera body, throw some lenses in there, throw your drone in there, whatever. But either way, you pack it out. It loads up in a simple bag like this All Missions platform bag, right? The AMP. I've got a few other ones up in the, I got all the Rush series, right? I've got all of those. But essentially, it's a pretty nondescript camera bag. And like I said, when I was overseas, one of the things I learned was to be as inconspicuous as possible. So I think that's all I have to say for now. If anybody has any questions, let me know. I'll work on making this video as professional as possible. But I really hope that the two things that I got a chance to answer for you, Enjoy Your Carry, was showing how I swap out these two bags, these two straps, and then how the overall platform for the LV fits together with these 5.11 bag. So it's a pretty groovy modular system and pretty straightforward. So out of all the hundreds of bags that I've played with and all of the travel that I do, I travel technology for work. I do a lot of sports media, do some music media as well. For everything, this really has been the best fit so far. We'll see how it wears. I may swap out some of the zipper pulls, but for the most part, I think I found the perfect platform. And just to steal a line from good old Klint, I think I found the perfect bag.